Right, we're on. Oh my goodness. Good morning. Good morning. I'm so excited, Alison, for us to just catch up and share around how we caught up, what our journey's been, and what it is to hang out with this mad woman that has an inspiring perspective. But anyway, so first of all, for all of those who don't know you and perhaps don't know me yet either, because this is something new that we're doing, would you like to share who you are, where you come from, because that's quite posh for us. We quite like the fact that we're both Poms in New Zealand. Anyway, so who you are, what you're about, kind of where you come from, and how we ended up crossing paths, because I think that's quite a good place to start. Over to you.
Yeah, it really is. And in fact, you're right. One of the things that we have in common is that we're both English, and we ended up here in New Zealand, which is about as far from England as you can get. And we probably came here for different reasons, but that's another story. I've been here 18 years. I came out here on holiday a couple of times, and I have a cousin who married a Kiwi, and she was out here, and I came to visit her one time, and just really fell in love with the place and came year after year. I was able to do that in my work schedule. Everybody else in the UK, they'd go off skiing in February, and I'd come to sunny New Zealand in February. In terms of how we met, well, I think that was good fortune, because I was undertaking a Dean Graziosi course with Tony Robbins. Been a big fan of Tony Robbins for decades now, and he's really helped me with my personal development in my mid-20s, when we still could buy books and CDs in order to be able to learn about how we could win at life. And also Tony Robbins came to London and did some big events that I went to. So as all these things transpire, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And I was at a bit of a transition. I'd had a very corporate life for about 30 years, both in the UK and New Zealand. I've been general manager for a couple of businesses here in New Zealand over the last 18 years. And I was ready to leave that and focus more on family. I was in the fortunate position financially that I could step back from work. The business that I was running had a useful kind of transition time in that the business was changing ownership from father to son. And I saw that that was my time to exit. So I'd organised that I would leave the business in March 2020, go on a sabbatical back to the UK, spend some time with family. My partner, John, was going to come with me. And that was the plan. Family reunion in the south of France. We booked a holiday home that we were going to meet. I've got a sister in Australia and other siblings in the UK. So we're all going to meet there. But the rug was pulled from under us, like so many people. Got to March 2020, no one was going anywhere. We were locked down and the sabbatical was off. So whilst I had this half a plan, which was to leave my corporate job, downsize my work, and spend more time with family in the UK. Also, I have stepdaughters here who have given me grandchildren, so I've been able to connect with them as well. So, as I said, I had half a plan, but not a whole plan. And with my corporate life and my business background, I need a whole plan, not half a plan. So the transition that I was looking to navigate, I went looking for tools. And so my old buddy, Tony Robbins, he was doing a conference called Mastermind. He had Dean Graziosi, who was new to me, and that was all on Zoom. And, you know, wasn't Zoom new to us all back in 2020 as well? So there were thousands of us. I think nearly 900,000 people were attending that free conference over the series of, I think it was about 4 days. And of course, us in little old New Zealand we had to get up at 4 a.m. in order to be able to attend the beginning of the conference. And we were all on a single Facebook group. And I thought to myself, well, there's got to be other Kiwis. Surely I'm not the only lunatic that's getting up at 4 a.m. in order to be able to get some good stuff into my life and make some changes. So I started to type in New Zealand into the Facebook group, and various names came up. And there was Sally's face. And I don't know what it was, but there was some kind of, she's my tribe, I'll message her. So I messaged Sally, and I was also able to message a couple of other people, but Sally stuck, and I found her website. Once we'd connected, she gave me a few details, and I looked on the website and I thought, that's my girl right there. And we ended up with so much in common, you know, our farming heritage, our time in the UK. We'd been in some corporate life. I know you'd had some corporate life, obviously I had as well. We'd ended up in New Zealand, obviously in some different parts. And so that's the thread of how we found each other. But I think the other thing that we had in common was our enthusiasm for life. And so, and also we were able to connect over our Christian faith. We were able to connect over helping people. One of the things that I just loved most about corporate life was being able to develop other people within their careers and within their capabilities. And so whilst I was on a journey to try and navigate this time of transition that I saw in front of me, there was also the desire to bring other people along at the same time, because I've kind of been good at that in the past. People have gravitated towards me. I seem to have been able to create some kind of infectious enthusiasm that gets other people thinking, rethinking, possibly planning and making some changes. And because that's so enriching for me, I wanted to be able to do more of that as well. And Sally, is that how you remember it?
Well, it is not quite so lengthy, I have to say. I love the fact that you can add 50,000 words. I mean, I can talk, but you, and actually, to be fair, that's our goal, is that both of us can talk the hind leg off a donkey. Like we've got, so we just, you know, firing all the time. And you're absolutely right. We were all, prior to it, it was kind of, the COVID thing had started, and we were all looking, or certainly at that stage, you and I and the other two gorgeous girls that we ended up connecting with, were all looking, we were on this journey of discovery. We were on this, we know there's something more, what's next for our lives, where to from here. And so it was funny because you're right, we met on Project Next, which was Dean and Tony's thing, but I'd also double portioned and gone on Fast Foundation with Chris and Laurie Harder, which is where I met Dale and I met Melissa, all of them in breakout rooms. So all of us kind of had ended up making these threads of connection. And just like you just said, I'm like, yeah, she's my girl. Like, I can hang out with her. She's good value, which is exactly, and we just went firing straight away. It was like, oh, this, oh, that, pop, pop, pop. We had that connection straight away. And certainly with Dale and Melissa, who are also going to be part of February, as you are, it's like, it's just been this most explosive, small, tight group that we've had, because we then decided actually we wanted to journey together. So it's interesting for people who are listening. Many of the interviews that are going on in January have all been about people I've actually coached face to face, or I've had time with them. So I've definitely been pouring into them on a professional level. At the end of the day, they've paid me to coach them, to bring them on, to break through from where they were to where they're getting to. But the four of us were on a slightly different level. So none of us particularly had a problem, and I don't mean problem like problem, but because we didn't really have anything missing other than the fact that we didn't know what was really ahead of us. We had this gut instinct, we had an idea, but it hadn't quite morphed yet. So I suppose for the sake of sharing so that people can understand what a master's mind is really about, which is ultimately what we put together. The four of us went, right, we're going to meet every week. We're going to hold each other accountable. We're going to share our wisdom, whatever that is. We're coming to bring whatever we've got that's in our hand, but we're open to listening, open to hearing, open to cheering each other on. So I suppose if we were to look back, or you were to share, like, we met because we were all hungry. We were hungry for more. We wanted to know more. We knew we could do more. And we were looking for like-minded people. And if you could fast forward to now, and for those of you who don't know, we are launching my very first event in February, which is part of this. And Alison has been my right-hand woman. There is no way I could have put the structure and the format, and just she's walked alongside me and held my hand as I'm like, are we really doing this? And and I can tell you now, if anybody wants to buy anyone a Christmas gift, actually it'd be too late by now because it's going to be January. But if anybody wants to do something that's outside of the box, come and join all four of us, plus another 6 at this event, because it is going to be out of this world. But back to Alison, because it's not really about the event, but it's so exciting, I can hardly hold myself back.
Yeah, and I mean, I concur, Sally. I think the main thing is trying to navigate any of this alone. It's just hard. I would hazard to say too hard. Yeah. And that's been the value of finding a tribe, connecting us, 4 girls once a week, like it or not, it's there. And if you can show up, we do. And if we can't, then that's fine too. Nobody's telling each other off. But being able to connect with like-minded people who, first of all, believe in you, and second of all, are happy to hold your hand when the self-doubt creeps in, which it does. For all of us, at more than one occasion, have the 3 of us had to rally around one of the girls and goes, no, actually, that's fine. You just keep going. What do you mean you can't do it? Of course you can do it. And so that's the value of finding the folks that you need. And, to be truthful, our family, they don't always believe in us because they know about all the warts and the time we've let ourselves down. And they're so quick to remind you of those things. And friends, yes, we can choose those, but, again, they're not necessarily that well equipped to be able to help either navigate us or be the cheerleaders for us. Whereas when you get into a group of people, and whether it's 4 or 40, you can find people that will journey with you. And I know that's a phrase that you use a lot, but oh my goodness, I've come to love that phrase because it is a journey. So many of us want the quick fix, but actually it's the journey. In the journey we grow, but also that's where the fun is. That's where the scenery is. You get to have a bit of a picnic along the way. And okay, there might be a stale sandwich there. Okay, chuck out the stale sandwich, buy yourself a Kit Kat. But this kind of thing, we have to be able to do these things in community. And that's what, this little group has been able to do for me, because, there's plenty of times when I would have totally given up on healthy eye habits, which is the plan that I've decided to, put my energy behind, because it would be just like, oh no, that's too much thought. That's too much technology. That's too weird. And so, you have to be with other people that said, no, Alison, you said it was a good idea. And you told me it was because A, B, and C. And I believed you. So can I just remind you of that so that you can believe it again and keep going? Do your damn website. So, that's kind of the value, I think, of being able to connect with other people. And over the last 18 months, I can absolutely vouch for the fact that I would have totally given up if it wasn't for the other ladies going, no, that was a good idea. Keep going.
You have made me laugh so much as you've just shared that. For those people who aren't English, when you have a Kit Kat, it's take a break. So the whole advert around a Kit Kat in the UK, take a break, have a Kit Kat. So what it is, I just want to share, because I just think that's brilliant, is give yourself a break. Hang out with good people. Have the right people around you at the right time. Now, we're not going to go on forever, because Alison and I could quite happily go on forever. But what I loved, funny, because I'm thinking about how we've journeyed, I'm thinking about where we are. And Alison, I'd love you to just share a couple of insights into when we met you. You had just come out of corporate. So you were very much like, this is the world I've been in. I've worked hard all my life, which you have. And for whatever reason have chosen, you didn't choose to particularly have children, or whatever the score was at that, it was very much a focused thing. And the reason I'm asking you to share, because I absolutely love, like, I'm getting quite emotional. Ooh, I can feel it. It's so powerful. Oh, I'll get myself sorted up to get Nikki to edit this bit. But it's like your journey from being that person and what you've been up to. And by the way, everyone, she rocked off, went to the UK. Yeah, I'll catch up with you from the UK for 5 months. Didn't catch up with us once, but we know why. No internet, out tenting, doing family stuff, whatever. Anyway, we're not going to hold it against her that she rocked off, but she's come back, so it's all good. But I just feel like if you could share with people, because there'll be lots of people who are in corporate jobs right now, they're where you were, and they are on that treadmill, working hard. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Many people are really happy in that space, and crack on. If that works for you, crack on. But I know, and Alison both know, that for us, it was a different story in terms of we've worked hard. Yes, we've achieved a lot. But actually, we knew for us that our hearts weren't happy, that we knew that, as Alison said, family was important to her, and maybe the balance hadn't been quite right. So, Alison, I just want you to share where you were and where you are now, and kind of how you feel. So it might be stress levels to no stress levels, whatever it is, but the Alison that we met 2 years ago to the Alison that is pumping in living your dream. Like, your dream might be different to mine, but you are totally like, I have got this. This is what I'm doing. Can you just give us a kind of snapshot? That would be awesome.
Yeah, I think there was a realization that enough is enough. And yes, I'd worked really hard in corporate life and loved it. I was successful. I was capable. But I'd had a burnout experience. So, back in 2015, I was running my own business, and I overdid it, is the bottom line. I haven't got a lot of capability, huge work ethic, was doing it all, but, frankly, overdid it. And I had to step back. I had to, learn how to delegate and retrench. And during that time, I kind of realized how important it is to make sure we've got relationships around us. Now, yes, I've been able to manifest my dream house. So I live at the beach. I don't have to work. There's the opportunity to let out part of my house for seaside holiday makers, and that can give me enough income to be able to just toddle along. Yeah, a pretty frugal life, but that's fine. And I think I had to make the change mentally to say, stop. The perpetual striving in order to feel a sense of worth, that just needed to stop. It was going to kill me if it hadn't already, aged me, which it certainly had, having had that burnout experience. Also, what I felt was there was this unique period of time over the next 10 years that I was never going to get back. So my parents live in the UK. They're 78. Obviously, they've been through the pandemic, so they stayed at home, and we were able to connect with them via, video call, and I could see them, I suppose, playing it safe, absolutely playing it safe, and staying home, which was great. And at least they had each other, which was good, and we were able to connect in. But really, I have not spent much time with them. I have been way too busy with my corporate life in the UK and then here on the other side of the world. And yes, they've been to visit me a couple of times, and I've been over there back to the UK. But I've got 10 years, from 78 to 88, when I've got some precious years to spend with them. Also, I have siblings in the UK. So I have a brother and sister who have my nieces and nephew, who are in the kind of 10 to 14 age bracket. So they're still interested in Auntie Alison. In 10 years' time, they will not be interested. They'll be off doing their own life. And then also I have my grandchildren. So my stepdaughter lives locally here, and we have a nearly 7-year-old and nearly 3-year-old grandchildren. And, again, we've missed out of them because we haven't lived locally up until this point. And I've got 10 years where I could really make a difference to support my stepdaughter, who works full-time, and her husband, and to be a real positive influence on those children. So I've got 10 years, man. That's all. And if I wait until I'm 65, when I'm supposed to retire, I've missed the boat. And once I had that realization, just like, oh my goodness, I have to do this now. So I've got to re-engineer my life that gives me time for my relationships. And that was a mindset shift. And I had to really rethink. So Sally referred to the fact that I went back to the UK and buggered off for 5 months. And I was without Wi-Fi most weeks. I was unbelievable. I would, send a WhatsApp message saying, sorry, ladies, I'm in a tent again. Or sorry, I'm on a canal boat. Or sorry, it's the middle of the night and I'm in the middle of nowhere. And so I just prioritized family. I have never done that before. And yes, I slightly, overscheduled because I went from the Outer Hebrides to Devon, from Ireland to Wales to everywhere, just to, spend time with family and friends. So that's the long answer to your question, but hopefully it will strike a chord with somebody who knows that would be a big deal. Stop working and prioritize family. It is a big deal, people. When you're used to a decent income and then you decide to let go of that, not because you necessarily need it. And yes, a big income enables you to do lots of fancy things and to give a lot, but to be able to say, no, I'm going to make a change, and it's going to be a big one.
And I love this because most of us won't. We're like, oh my goodness, seriously, what if I can't have a flash car? What if I can't? And whatever it might be. And my personal story was I was so miserable in the life that had everything on the surface. So if anyone was to look at me, they would think I had everything. I had the big cars, we had the ponies, we had everything, the beautiful house, amazing husband, like it was all there. But I was miserable in myself. And I'm not saying that you were miserable by any stretch of the imagination, but it's like that inner game that you just know this is not fulfilling you. Whatever you are doing is not what's filling you. And so I know we've got to wrap up, but how do you feel now? If you could put on maybe a scale of 1 to 10 of how you felt, as in fulfillment, as in on fire, as in, oh my goodness, I'm living my dreams 2 years ago, to where you are now. What would you say? Like,
to be honest, Sally, it's so difficult because it's not even on the same scale. Yeah. I had to like jump scales. And you know, I was doing well in a corporate life and I enjoyed it, and it was fulfilling in and of itself.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was getting filled up, but I was getting filled up with a lot of the same stuff. I've been working for 30 years, and there comes a point when you're going, really? Another customer complaint? Or really? Another stuff up? Or really? And, you know, it's just like, enough with the customers, enough with the staff, enough with machinery that breaks down, just enough. I'm done. You know, the striving, the empowerment that goes with problem solving, ask Alison, yeah, boom, sorted, done, boom, you know, and I'm just like, no. And it wasn't because I was failing at it, not at all. It was just like, really, there's just more of the same. And if I, you know, as I say, I was ready to leave the business that was passing from father to son, and it was just like, okay, well, shall I go and get another job? You know, another family business to sort out? You're just like, really? Just like the last one? Well, yeah, you could. Where's the fun in that?
Do you know what? I'm laughing.
So, you know, it is a different scale. And because I could afford to buy a house by the beach, you know, lots of things came one after another. You know, lockdown gave me the time to look online to buy a house down in the area that I wanted. And I'd been looking for a couple of years, and it was just like, oh, yeah, quite good. But no. And then saw it and went, that's the one. I'm buying that one. And then we came out of lockdown. First flight down for the first open home, down here. Right. Yeah, I'm buying that one. John hadn't even seen it, just bought it. And then, you know, and then it took us 2 years to actually get down here because, of course, we then had successive lockdowns and stuff like that. I had beautiful tenants who've been here for 2 years and looked after it like it was their own house. Mm. And now I'm here. And John and I drive around going, we live here now. Should we just pop and see the grandchildren? And, you know, it's just like unbelievable. It just blows my mind. And so, you know, it is a different scale because it's just another experience. And, you know, yeah, quite a lot of pain, you know, got to pack everything up and put it in a shipping container, move it down here and stuff like that. But you know, that's just the practical side, because now you're here and you go, that's it. I'm here for the next 40 years, looking at the sea and going for a walk along the beach. That's it. Obviously flying to England and back, you know, to see my family, which I'm planning to do every year. So, you know, it's astonishing to think that this is actually happening, is actually not just a plan, I'm in it. I'm actually in it, and I have to pinch myself.
I love that. And you know what the gold is out of that that's made me laugh today? You've gone from running family businesses, others' family businesses, and now you're in the business of family. You're all in the business of relationship. And actually, that's what's filled your boat. And you are living your dream. You can do summer in New Zealand, summer in the UK. I just think that's brilliant. Never do a winter. Bring it on. And you can do that as much as you like. Not only that, but it's family. It's all about relationship. And you're running your own business at the same time. In fact, you're running more than one business at the same time. And you still get to go for a walk on the beach when you like. Go and do whatever you do when you like. And I know that you've been Mrs. Swimming Granny just quietly. I've seen you.
I have.
Seen those clips. So we are going to wrap this up because we're well over time, and I'll get into terrible trouble from Nikki for her having to edit so much. But I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you, particularly for me to say thank you to you for being on my journey. Because just as with what I think we found with all four of us as girls is that we've all given, but we've received probably more than we've given, to be fair. And it's the fact that we've been able to walk together. So I just thank you, Alison, because without you and Melissa and Dale, without that crew, we would not be hosting What Next for everybody else so that they can live their dreams. So I say thank you, thank you, thank you. And for those of you who would like to see more of us or know more or get to do more, just come and sign up and join us in February. You can be online or you can actually be live with us in the building as we go ahead and share what's next for you to live your dreams in 2023.